Cassie recently made a decision that many people in her position might have been afraid to make, and it could end up being one of the most important moves in her legal battle. Instead of reacting emotionally or getting pulled into a public argument, she allowed the legal system to handle the situation. What makes this story even more surprising is that much of the attention is now focused on Clayton Howard, who may have unintentionally damaged his own case. According to reports, Clayton posted a video on social media that quickly gained attention for all the wrong reasons. In the video, he allegedly directed threats toward Cassie and made several aggressive comments. Rather than helping his position, many observers believe the video gave Cassie's legal team exactly the evidence they needed. The video reportedly showed Clayton speaking directly about the ongoing lawsuit and expressing frustration over legal developments. He identified himself, discussed the case, and complained about Cassie's efforts to have parts of the lawsuit dismissed. However, instead of sticking to legal arguments, he allegedly launched into a lengthy rant filled with insults, accusations, and threatening language. Many people who watched the clip were shocked because it appeared to cross a line that most individuals involved in active litigation know to avoid. When a case is being decided in court, public threats and personal attacks can create serious problems, especially when they are recorded and shared online. Cassie's legal team moved quickly after the video began circulating. Rather than responding through social media, they reportedly filed documents with the court and asked a judge to review what had happened. Their approach was straightforward. Instead of focusing on emotions, they presented the facts as they saw them. They pointed out the alleged threats, the insulting remarks, and the public nature of the video. They also noted how widely it spread across platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and Threads. Major entertainment outlets reportedly covered the story as well, meaning the comments reached a much larger audience than they might have otherwise. One of the key requests made by Cassie's legal team was for a protective order. In legal cases, protective orders can be used to help prevent harassment, intimidation, or behavior that could interfere with the court process. The argument is that lawsuits should be decided through evidence and legal arguments, not through pressure campaigns on social media. Courts generally take these concerns seriously because public attacks can affect the people involved and potentially influence the proceedings. Another reason the situation has attracted attention is because Clayton has reportedly expressed interest in becoming a lawyer. As a law student, he would eventually need to meet character and fitness requirements before being admitted to practice law. These evaluations often consider how applicants conduct themselves, whether they respect the legal process, and how they treat others during disputes. Critics argue that publicly threatening an opposing party or attacking lawyers involved in a case could raise serious questions about judgment and professionalism. While only the appropriate authorities can decide whether such actions would affect a future legal career, many legal observers believe the video could become a significant issue if it is reviewed in that context. What stands out to many people is the contrast between the two responses. Clayton chose to speak publicly and aggressively, while Cassie reportedly stayed silent and allowed her attorneys to handle the matter through official channels. By making the video part of the court record, her legal team ensured that a judge could evaluate the situation directly. Instead of engaging in a public fight, they turned the focus back to the legal process. For many observers, that strategy appears calculated and effective. Credibility often plays an important role in lawsuits. Judges are responsible for reviewing evidence, assessing arguments, and determining which claims are supported by facts. When someone involved in a case makes public statements that appear threatening or hostile, it can affect how others view their credibility. Whether or not it changes the outcome of a lawsuit, it can create distractions that shift attention away from the original claims and toward the person's behavior. The situation has also fueled speculation online about possible connections between Clayton's lawsuit and Sean Diddy Combs. Some commentators have suggested there may be a broader strategy behind the legal actions, while others believe such claims are based on assumptions rather than evidence. At this point, there is no publicly proven information confirming that Diddy directed, funded, or coordinated Clayton's actions. These ideas remain theories discussed by commentators and social media users. However, because Cassie's allegations against Diddy have already generated enormous public attention, any legal matter involving both names is likely to attract additional scrutiny. Supporters of Cassie argue that the video ultimately strengthened her position because it allowed her legal team to demonstrate what they view as harassment and intimidation. From their perspective, the incident shifted attention away from the claims being made against her and toward the conduct of the person bringing the lawsuit. They believe the video undermined Clayton's message and gave the court a reason to take concerns about his behavior seriously. What makes this entire story so fascinating is that Cassie never had to engage in a public war of words. She did not need to release emotional statements or spend days arguing online. Instead, her legal team documented the situation and presented it to the court. Whether the judge ultimately agrees with their arguments remains to be seen, but many legal analysts believe the response was strategic and disciplined. In the end, the controversy serves as a reminder that actions taken on social media can have real consequences, especially when a lawsuit is already underway. What may feel like a moment of frustration can quickly become evidence, and once something is posted publicly, it can be very difficult to take it back. Cassie's response to the situation has caught a lot of attention because she chose a very different approach than many people expected. Instead of getting involved in a public argument, posting emotional messages online, or responding directly to the attacks, she allowed the legal process to do the work for her. According to reports, her legal team used Clayton Howard's own statements and actions as evidence when seeking a protective order. Rather than making accusations, they pointed to the video Clayton allegedly posted and highlighted how widely it spread across social media platforms. The filing reportedly explained that the video was shared on multiple sites, discussed by online users, and even covered by media outlets. From a legal perspective, the argument appears to be that this was not simply a private disagreement, but part of a much larger public effort that targeted Cassie. Many observers believe this creates a serious problem for Clayton, because credibility matters in court. Judges often pay close attention not only to the legal arguments being presented, but also to the behavior of the people involved. When someone publicly makes threats, uses insulting language, or attacks opposing attorneys without providing evidence to support those claims, it can raise questions about their judgment. In this case, critics argue that Clayton's video may have done more damage to his own position than anything Cassie could have said in response. Instead of strengthening his arguments, the video shifted attention toward his conduct. A lot of people have pointed out that if someone truly believes they have a strong case, they usually focus on presenting evidence through the proper legal channels. Courts are designed to examine facts, hear testimony, and review documents. Threats and angry social media posts rarely help someone win a legal dispute. In fact, they often create new problems. That is why many legal commentators believe Clayton's decision to post the video may have been a major mistake. Rather than convincing people that he was right, it gave his critics additional material to examine and question. The situation could also have consequences beyond this lawsuit. Clayton has reportedly spoken about wanting to become a lawyer in the future. If that remains his goal, public behavior could become an important issue. Future employers, legal organizations, and licensing authorities often look at a person's character, professionalism, and decision-making skills. A widely shared video involving threats or hostile comments could potentially become something that follows a person for years. In today's digital world, once something is posted online and spreads across multiple platforms, it becomes extremely difficult to erase completely. What makes the situation even more significant is the speed of Cassie's legal team's response. They reportedly acted quickly after the video surfaced. Instead of waiting for the story to grow even larger, they moved to place the issue before the court. Supporters of Cassie see this as a sign of a well-prepared legal strategy. By acting immediately, her attorneys ensured that the judge would be aware of the video and its contents. They did not leave room for arguments that the material was misunderstood or taken out of context without first documenting it through official court filings. Many people believe this demonstrates the value of staying disciplined during a legal battle. Cassie reportedly did not engage in online fights, exchange insults, or create videos responding to every accusation. Instead, she relied on her legal representatives to handle the matter professionally. Her team reportedly collected the evidence, organized it, and presented it through the proper channels. For many observers, that approach appears far more effective than trying to win an argument on social media. At the same time, It is important to remember that courts ultimately decide cases based on legal standards and evidence. While some commentators have argued that Clayton has seriously damaged his position, the final outcome remains in the hands of the judge. Still, there is no question that public behavior can influence how a person is viewed throughout the legal process. Actions that appear aggressive, reckless, or threatening can distract from the actual claims being made and place attention on the individual's conduct instead. The controversy has also fueled ongoing speculation about Sean Diddy Combs. Some online commentators have suggested that Clayton's lawsuit may somehow connect to larger efforts involving Diddy. Others believe these claims are based mostly on assumptions and personal theories. At this point, there has been no public proof establishing that Diddy directed or supported Clayton's actions. Nevertheless, because Cassie's allegations against Diddy have been so widely discussed, people continue looking for connections between different legal developments surrounding the case. For Diddy, even the appearance of another controversy may create additional challenges. His name is already linked to several high-profile legal matters, and any new dispute that attracts public attention naturally becomes part of the broader conversation. Whether or not there is any actual connection, the public often groups related stories together, especially when the same people are repeatedly mentioned. Perhaps the biggest lesson from this entire situation is that legal disputes and social media rarely mix well. Courts focus on evidence, facts, and formal arguments. Public attacks, threats, and emotional outbursts often create unnecessary complications. Many legal experts frequently advise people involved in lawsuits to be extremely careful about what they post online, because those statements can later become evidence. Throughout this controversy, Cassie's strategy appears to have been centered on patience and documentation. Rather than reacting impulsively, she reportedly allowed her legal team to gather information and present it to the court. Whether the judge ultimately grants every request her attorneys have made remains to be seen. However, many observers believe her approach has strengthened her position by keeping the focus on the legal process rather than personal conflict. In contrast, critics argue that Clayton's public actions may have created obstacles that will be difficult to overcome, both in this lawsuit and potentially in future professional opportunities. As the case continues, the courts will determine the outcome, but the events so far have become a clear example of how quickly public statements can influence a legal battle.